morning. For those of you who don't know, my name is Mai Karen. I run a fashion blog called Classically Kept. It does feature luxury, contemporary, and how to style, and now natural hair care. So if you were into any of those things, please consider subscribing to my channel and then click the notification bell. That way you will never miss a video. So today's video is going to be a hair video. I know we have been talking about fashion, but today we are going to talk about, 10 things to know, 10 things to realize, 10 Jesus moments that you might need to have prior to going natural. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so before we get into the tips really quickly, my little disclaimer, I have been natural for 12 years. My last relaxer, or when I decided to go natural, was December 22nd of 2010. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the tips. The first one is going to be do your research. Unfortunately, this is not going to be one of those things that you can just kind of walk into blindly. You can, but you're going to set yourself up, okay? You need to do your research. Get on YouTube University, start looking at, different hair YouTubers, hair gurus, people who do, natural hair, natural hairstylists, which I say very lightly. Y'all know how I feel about hairstylists. But do your research. Do not go into this blindly. You will set yourself up and you will be very disappointed when you come to a situation and you won't know how to handle it. So what I mean by do your research, like I said, get on YouTube University, start looking up blogs. We are in the age of technology. It is 2022. There is going to be someone out there whose hair type or hair porosity resembles yours somewhat. It's not going to be 100%, but do your research. Start reading, start looking at products, start, maybe even going into the store. Like if your favorite YouTuber, your favorite hair guru has recommended some products for natural, for beginners, maybe go into Target, maybe go into Walmart and start looking at the ingredients. If you don't know what one is, maybe look it up and just kind of familiarize yourself with that ingredient, or kind of familiarize yourself with the natural hair care community. Number 2, and I don't feel like this one is talked about enough, but number 2, there is going to be a learning curve, okay? What is the saying? Don't compare someone's, height of success or someone's, when they have arrived moment to your beginning. There is going to be a learning curve. There are going to be days, there are going to be wash days where you might look absolutely crazy and you're going to have to go with it. Slap on a hat, slap on a head wrap, but there will be a learning curve, okay? Whether you BC or whether you don't, which is BC is big chop. And that's what I mean by do your research. Familiarize yourself with the jargon in that particular community, okay? Or the colloquialisms. There's going to be a learning curve. You are not going to be able to do the same things that your favorite hair guru does on day one, right after you big chop. Or let's say you big chop and now you have some length. The hairstyle that you've been trying to do may not come out how you want it to come out the very first time. And really that's in life. Like whenever you step into a new position, whenever you're in a new community, whenever you're in a new environment, there's going to be a learning curve. I'm not saying you won't pick it up fast, but there is going to be a learning curve. And I don't want someone who is chosen to go natural, has done all their research and is really happy. I don't want that person to feel discouraged when they have a terrible hair day, when they have a terrible wash day, when they can't figure out how to detangle their hair, okay? There is going to be a learning curve, but you will catch up. Number 3, and I think this one is not talked about all the time either, and I think this can also go for relaxed women as well. But sometimes being a natural, you will not always love your hair. Monday, you might love it. Tuesday, you might love it. Wednesday, you may wake up and say, oh my God, what have I done? I need to get a relaxer, or I need to chop it off and start again. You're not always going to love your hair. And it might not seem like it, but that goes for me as well. There are many days when I'm like, you know what, I'm done with this. Chop it all off. I've never gone through the extreme to think to get a relaxer, but there are days when I do not love my hair. There are also days when your favorite YouTuber, your favorite hair guru does not love their hair that day either, okay? And like I said, that's really with relaxed women, and that's probably just with women in general. But I feel like sometimes it's an emphasis with curly hair or natural women, because when you don't love your hair, you're not really sure what to do with it, okay? So that's one realization. You need to realize that you are not always going to love your hair. Number 4, and I guess 2, 3, and 4 kind of tie in together. You will have bad hair days, okay? There's really no escaping that. Again, when you're looking at your favorite YouTuber, when you're looking at your favorite hair guru, on the days that they are having a good hair day, or on that day, where it just seems to be working out for them, that's when you might see content from them. That's when you might see a photo. That's when you might see a short. That's when you might see a TikTok. That's when you might see a reel. My goodness, that's a lot. But there are going to be days you're just going to have a bad hair day. Last week when I took out my mini twist, or I think it was the week before that, the morning of, my hair looked absolutely crazy. What did I do? I threw it up in a top knot and I threw a head wrap on, okay? You will have bad hair days. There is no way around it. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of life. You might be married. You might have children. You might have to go to work. You might be late to work. You might be running late to work. And typically when you're running late to work, I know for a lot of curly women, their hair typically falls by the wayside. They just kind of, maybe throw it up. You're gonna have a bad hair day. And I'm saying that because life is going to catch up with you. You might be married with a newborn. You might be married with 3 kids. You might be married and you have to go, as I do every Friday with my son's all of his football games. There are going to be situations where your hair is not going to look its best, or it might not look its best to you. We all say that we are our worst critic. Number 5, and this was a decision that I had to make, but it's not necessarily a realization, but it's something while you're doing your research that I want you to kind of look up. And you need to decide whether or not you are going to BC, again, that means big chop, or if you are just kind of going to not do a big chop, but if you're just going to kind of cut off, like inch by inch, you're just going to cut off a couple of sections at a time. For me, I did not BC. I've never had short hair. When my hair was relaxed, it was getting shorter and thinner, but in the Black community, my hair still would have been considered short. So I cut off inches by inches every couple of months. So what I would do is I would take my relaxed hair and I would take my natural hair and I would just kind of wet it at night and then I would braid it, because it would make it easier in the morning for me to style with the demarcation point. Again, if you are stepping into the natural hair community, do your research. Demarcation point is basically the point at where your relaxed hair, which would be down here, and where your natural hair meets, okay? For a lot of people, that's why they choose 2BC, or why they just kind of choose to chop it off right at where the demarcation point is, because it can be very frustrating to work with, and you will see your hair starting to snap at that demarcation point and tangle. But luckily for me, when I wet my hair and then I braided it at night and then I took it out, it was easy enough for me to style. But eventually I did have to chop my hair off, not necessarily chop. So I would say by the time that I did my quote unquote BC, I would say that my hair was right here, which for me was scary because that was the shortest that my hair had ever been. Number 6, and I feel like this is talked about, but I don't think people really realize it or believe it, especially if you BC. Again, familiarize yourself with, the general terms when it comes to a certain community. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yes, that is terrible. Your hair texture. Your hair texture will change even when you don't BC. And what I mean by that is there are going to be different hair textures on your head at the same time. I'll give you an example. From right here to right here, I would probably say 3. From right here to right here, I would probably say I have 3, let's say 3B, 3C. In the middle, which I call my section, that is 4B, 4C all day. And then from right here to right here at the nape of my neck, I would probably say that is in the middle of these two. So this is the loosest, this is my problem section, and then this is right in the middle, okay? And as you get older, your hair texture will change as well, which is going to lead you maybe to try different products, which is going to lead you to do more research, and which is probably going to lead you to maybe follow somebody else, okay? But throughout the course of your natural hair journey, especially when you BC, your hair texture will change. Number 7, and I feel like this one is talked about, and I know some naturals do and some don't. From my experience, Do not comb your hair when you are natural when it is dry, unless you have slip, okay? And again, familiarize yourself with, the local jargon in that community or the local colloquialisms. Slip basically means that your hair is kind of slippery and you can kind of run your hands through it. When you are natural, you are not supposed to, and let me rephrase that. I would advise you, or the suggestion is to not comb your hair when it's dry. You need some type of slip, or your hair needs to be in its curly state with some type of moisturizer, gel, curly souffle. You're not supposed to, again, it's a suggestion, you are not supposed to comb your hair when it is dry, okay? For me personally, I abide by that rule. Number one, because I've done it myself and I have actually snapped off hair. I will link my entire natural hair story down below, but I was in Philadelphia in 2014 and that's when I had my setback, and I just had taken my hair out of mini twists that had been in for, I want to say, like a good 3 weeks. The hairstylist took not even a tangled Caesar, not even a wide tooth comb. She took like one of those small rat tail combs and just started going to town, and she was snapping my hair left and right. Okay, my hair was dry. Do not comb your hair when it's natural, when it is dry. I know for a lot of relaxed women, you are able to do that, but for us natural women, not so much. Number 8, and I'm not really sure where this comes from, because just even looking at this, I'm not even really sure why you would assume that you can run this through your hair. But as a natural, you will not be able to use a fine tooth comb. I'm not really sure where that's coming from, and I keep seeing it pop up on my feed on YouTube and sometimes on Instagram. I wouldn't dare. You look at the comb, the teeth are like this close. You're going to be bald. You're going to snap your hair. I'm not really sure where this is coming from, but you can't do that. Now, laying edges, laying baby hairs, fine. But I'm talking about using a fine tooth comb to style and or detangle your hair. I'm not really sure where that's coming from, but you can't do that. And as a matter of fact, when I was relaxed, I wasn't laying baby hairs, but I was not using a fine tooth comb to style and detangle my hair then either. So I'm not really sure where that's coming from, but when you are natural, don't do that, okay? Number 9, and I had to learn this very quickly. Number 9, you will always be a student. And what I mean by that is you will be able to teach people, you will be able to answer questions, but being natural is a journey. It's not something that you're always going to understand. It's not something that you're always going to like. It's not something that you're always going to love. It will frustrate you because let's say Monday you're using your, go-to, your tried and true. For me right now, it is the Shea Moisture Curl Enhancing Smoothie. Maybe Monday and then all the way through Friday I can use it, and then I wash my hair on Sunday, and then I come Monday getting ready to use it and my hair looks crazy, okay? Your hair will tell you what it needs. You just have to listen to it. So when I mean you will always be a student, is that you will always be learning something new about your hair. For instance, let's say you move to a different city, or you move to a different state, or you move to a different country. The water, the food, the air, it may be different, and it may cause your hair to act differently, okay? So then you just adjust your hair care regimen accordingly, okay? But you will always be a student. Not saying that you won't be able to start your own YouTube channel, not saying that you won't be able to answer questions for other people, but it's always a journey when it comes to being natural. Number 10, and I have a hair talk episode about this. Number 10, when you choose to go natural or when you bring it up, there's probably going to be some conversation between your friends and family, and they might not necessarily agree. There may be some pushback, and you have to be okay with that. This whole hair talk series has taught me a lot about our community in general. And unfortunately, I'm realizing that a lot of the backlash and a lot of the comments and just disrespectful things are from within. So when you choose to go natural, if you lose support of friends or if you lose support of family members, you're going to have to be okay with that. There is going to be someone in your life who is not going to agree with your decision, and you have to be okay with that. Oh, there's 11. Okay, so the last one is detangling and just combing your hair in general. When you are natural, it is going to take time, okay? It's not going to take it's going to take time. Now, as you learn your hair, as you are a student, as you are learning, as you are doing your research, you will find tips and tricks to make the process faster. But detangling your hair, combing your hair is probably going to be it's not going to be difficult. It would be difficult at first because there's going to be a learning curve. It'll be difficult at first and it's going to seem like it takes forever. But as you are going through your natural hair journey, you will learn tips and tricks to figure out different ways how to detangle your hair, how to make it faster. For instance, there are natural women who can just take out whatever hairstyle they have, hop in the shower, take their tangle teaser, take their wide tooth comb, and just go like this all around their hair, and it's detangled. I wish I was that natural, but I'm not. I am the natural that actually has to have her hair in sections to do that. And it doesn't really have anything to do with fairy knots, me needing a trim. It just has to do with my hair and how it likes to be taken care of. So, and then you might also have people, who can just get into the shower, do four sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, and do it that way and be absolutely fine. I have to do many more than that. So I would say for me, detangling, shampooing, washing, and all of that is really why my wash day turns into a literal day. But, stay the course. It's fine. You will learn many more tricks when it comes to even styling your hair, detangling, washing, and things like that. I would say my wash day, typically when I first started, would literally take me all day. Now, if I start in the morning, I am able to wash my hair, detangle, deep condition, do all of that. And I'm actually even able to install my mini twist. Maybe let's say I start at maybe like 8 in the morning. I might be done maybe at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. Yes, it took me 12 hours, but everything is absolutely done. And at this point, I typically keep in my mini twist anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so those are all of the tips that I have for you. And I guess I had 11, I did not have 10, but those are all of the tips and the realizations that I have for you when it comes to being natural or choosing to go natural. Leave any other tips that you have or realizations down below in the comments. I just want to remind you that here on YouTube, I do upload videos every Wednesday and Sunday. And of course, right here, I'll put my Instagram handle. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. Bye.